ahead and get started. I think everybody knows I'm Dave Moorfield with the Public Affairs Unit, and we appreciate everybody coming out. Why we had everybody out today is we got some questions about the grants for the sexual assault kits. So wanted to bring everybody in and give kind of an overview of that, and then take some question and answers for those any questions related to those kits. Also, after we get finished with that, we've got Captain Chris Dozier. He's here just to give you a little bit of an update on some of the homicides, some of those numbers, and take a few questions for that as well. First off, we've got two speakers here. We've got Lieutenant Melanie Peacock from our Violent Crime Sexual Assault Unit, and Matt Mathis. He is the director of our crime laboratory. So we've got both of them here. Lieutenant Peacock will come up first. I'll go ahead and take care of the spelling of their names. It's Lieutenant Melanie Peacock, M-E-L-A-N-I-E, Peacock, P-E-A-C-O-C-K, and Matt is M-A-T-T, and Mathis, M-A-T-H-I-S. So without further delay, we'll go ahead and have Lieutenant Peacock come in. Like I said, she's going to give you just kind of an overview of the grants for those kits.
Good afternoon. I think you all have already had some information sent to you about the grants as far as the City Council vote, but I'll just kind of reiterate some of that real quickly. This is the third grant that CMPD has received targeting sexual assault kits specifically. It's about a total of $2.5 million in grant funding that we've received to this point. We're very excited about this grant in particular because it will target those sexual assault kits that were collected before DNA testing was at CMPD. So these are essentially all cold cases more than 10 years ago that have been waiting to get tested with the new technology. They're considered partially tested under the grant, and what that essentially means is when they were collected, we had technology at that time that allowed us to test for serology, blood typing, things like that. DNA didn't exist then. So they were previously tested for all intents and purposes. They just haven't gone through DNA, so we're really excited to have this grant money that's going to allow us to do that. We expect these 600 partially tested kits are going to yield some pretty significant results in identifying offenders who have avoided justice up to this point. So we're very grateful for the federal funding to seek justice for all sexual assault survivors. And I think it's important to remember there's far more to a sex assault investigation than just the kit. With this grant funding, it pays for a lot of the kits, but it also helps us with equipment, district attorneys that have to be involved. We have to have detectives to follow up on the cases, advocates and community resources to offer services. So testing these kits creates a lot more work than just the testing itself, and I think it's important to remember that. And we're just really excited to be able to take on another grant and get some more justice for survivors. I'm going to bring up Matt Mathis from the Crime Lab, and we're here to answer any questions that you may have. Nobody?
Any questions? I do. I actually wanted to know, can you kind of quantify how getting these partial kits, being able to complete those, how this is going to speed up finding those responsible?
Well, we run them through, the 600 kits will be outsourced to a private lab, which will enable our crime lab to focus on the current cases that they're working through. Once those cases are tested, if there's a usable DNA profile that can be uploaded into the CODIS system, which is the national DNA database, if there's a usable profile that can give us a name, then certainly there'll be an investigation that follows. Matt can probably speak a little bit more to the process of a CODIS hit and how all that works.
So when these kits are tested for DNA, if we are able to generate a DNA profile, that DNA profile is uploaded to CODIS database, which is the Combined DNA Index System. Once we have that information back and it comes up with a name or it links to another case, we're able to turn that information over to the detectives to use in their investigation.
How far back do these cases go?
The partially tested kits go back into the 90s.
How long, just a timeline, how long do you think it will take to get all 600 tested, I guess?
Well, we'll work out a contract with the outsourced lab with a timetable, but it's a 3-year grant. So essentially, we have 3 years for them to work through those and for us to get the results back. And once the results come back, our lab has to do some additional quantitative analysis and things to get those things uploaded into those samples uploaded into the system. So it does take some time, and we usually work through them in batches.
If you could say anything directly to people that may be responsible for a sex assault in the past, maybe from the 90s, and have gotten away with it this long, now knowing you have the power, what you have with this grant, if you could say anything to those people directly, what would it be?
Well, I think this is just a testament to the fact that we don't give up on cases, and we certainly don't give up on getting justice for survivors. We have a cold case unit dedicated to working sex assaults and homicides. We have currently, I think, 2,800 sex assault cold cases that we're working through. We don't stop until we get some resolution on these cases. This grant and the other 2 grants that we received are just helping us to push that forward a little bit quicker than we'd be able to do in-house with our own resources. So we're grateful for that.
Have you guys had the opportunity to talk to some of those victims and let them know that you got this grant and what that might mean for their case?
We have some victims that call in and that are excited about the possibilities. That's something we'll do as we go through the process, because there's certain protocols involved with victim notification too that we have to abide by.
When this story first surfaced, somebody within the department, and I don't remember who it was, said, we're doing what we're supposed to be doing, but it may not have been best practices at the time. Is it best practices now?
Yeah, best practices, as you know, evolve. What we did before is not always the same as what we're doing today. We changed our policy here at CMPD back in 2015 to test all kits coming in the door. So, it used to be that decisions were made more on a prosecutorial basis. Now we're testing everything as it comes in because it's the right thing to do. The practice that we had previously was pretty standard across departments across the country, but we've evolved because we realize it's not the best for victims. So we test everything coming in the door, which overnight, when we changed policy, basically created a new backlog, because now we've essentially doubled the amount of sexual assault kits we were testing previously.
Take a couple more.
So you have the 600 sexual assault kits, and so are the 600 purely just cold cases?
Yes.
Or, okay. So when we talk about just the normal backlog of rape kit or sexual assault kits, what is that figure right now?
Of current cases that we're waiting to test, it's about 200.
Okay. Is there a sense of when those 200 will be completed, or does this grant not really have anything to do with this?
This grant is completely separate because this grant specifically targets partially tested kits, which none of the other grants focused on. So we're excited to have that. Anything else?
All right, anybody else? Okay, thank you very much. All right, we've only got him for a few minutes, but I'm going to bring Captain Chris Dozier up. Like I said, he's going to just kind of give you an update. Been some questions on some of our numbers and that kind of stuff. He'll give you a little bit of an update on that and try to take a question or two. All right, Captain.
All right. Good afternoon, everybody. If you want, I'll just take questions from you guys as far as what do you want to know about the 2 homicides that occurred yesterday, and also the information about the homicide of Natalie Merrick as well.
Let me start with that, if I may, Chris. That one, I guess the missing persons report was filed on the 25th, I believe, which was...
On the 20th.
20th?
Yes.
Okay. And so that would have been after, about the time the body was actually found. Can you walk us through how you pieced all that together and were able to identify, first of all, who she was, and then arrest her boyfriend?
Right. We initially, York County found the victim. She was dumped at a dump site in York County. There was no identification at that point, but she did have some distinguishing tattoos. The following day, the victim's mother reported her missing, or attempted to report her missing through our department since she lives here. So we received the information from York County about the tattoos, the distinguishing marks, and they were asking if we had had anybody with a similar description that had been reported missing. So at that point, the detectives, missing persons detectives, realized that it was the same person. So that's how we came up with a positive identification. And then, of course, investigating that, And the evidence collected, we determined that the victim's boyfriend was the person responsible for her murder.
What was the cause of death?
Right now, the medical examiner in South Carolina has not determined that, although she did have injuries consistent with strangulation.
Has he said why?
I'm sorry?
Has the boyfriend given a statement and talked to him? Has he said why or what?
Right now, he has not given a statement to police. He requested an attorney, so he has not given anything as to motive or what happened.
Was she killed on Via Romano, in the house on Via Romano?
We know that she was murdered in Charlotte. We can't say exactly right now. It's just part of the investigation. We're still trying to kind of zero in exactly those circumstances of where she was murdered.
You talk about how long exactly these two knew each other, and it says that they had a child in common.
Right.
She was pregnant, but they have another child as well? Or?
They do have a child in common. They've been together for several years. So it's a long-term relationship.
Where was this, what stage was the unborn in?
I can't say.
He was arrested back in August for assaulting a female. Was that the victim?
Right now, I can't say who that was. But I will say, obviously, that this does play to any victim of domestic violence. If you're in that situation, we want to help you. We want to be a part of the solution to help you get out of that situation. Too often, women are afraid of the person they're with. They don't take the measures that we offer to get them out of that situation. So this is a situation where I think it's good to say that we need to, if you are a victim of domestic violence and you need help, we're here to help you. You report it, and we will assist you in getting out of that situation and bringing the person responsible for this to justice.
Try to take a couple more.
Can I ask you about the
If you got anything related to last night,
Yeah.
we'll try to take a couple more for
Yes,
that.
yeah.
The businessman who was shot,
Yes.
can you have any evidence that suggests they knew each other?
Not right now, no. It doesn't appear that they knew each other. It just looks like a robbery gone bad.
We hear scuttlebutt about whether that was a legitimate business or whatever. Is there anything to suggest that anything fishy was going on over there?
Yeah, right now I can't say. That's a part of the investigation, so I can't really say what the nature of the business was.
Captain, is it that the victim hasn't been identified yet? Is that because all of the family hasn't been told, or is it that you don't know?
No, we have to make sure that the family's notified before we give that information out.
And was there someone there with him also?
Yes, there was. There was a witness to it.
Did she indicate were they working late, what was happening at that time?
I can't comment on the circumstances. That's just a part of the investigation.
Can you say, was it a single gunshot?
No, I can't.
Cannot say.
Can you say whether any of this was caught on camera?
Right now, the officers or the detectives are reviewing any of the video, either of the business or anything surrounding. If they get anything of value that could assist with identifying the suspect, they're going to release that.
The person who was the witness, were they an employee or a co-owner or?
Yeah, right now I can't say as far as the relationship between the witness and the victim.
Try to take one more
Can
if
you
we
go
can.
back to the Timberbrook Drive? So was that an argument that escalated? Is that what happened?
That's what it appears to be, is an argument. It escalated into what occurred.
The victim's family said that he was trying to break up a fight. Is that contrary to what you guys know? Can you clarify that?
I do know that there was a fight earlier. I can't say that this homicide was indirectly related to an earlier fight that had occurred out there.
Captain, what's the number now?
The number right now is 76.
Was that business routinely open that late? Just
I
curious.
don't know. I can't say.
And the 76, are you counting that, are you counting the Via Romano?
We're counting the mother. That the suspect has been charged with murder of an unborn child, but what we report out is that the mother, the fetus, is not considered into the total numbers.
But she's included in the 76.
The mother is, yes,
Mother is.
yes.
We're off. I can get we going. And do you know how long the body had been there, in that case, been in York County? When was she killed, do you believe,
Well,
in Charlotte?
We have somewhat of a timeline, but she had been there several hours.
But believe she was killed on the same day that he dumped the body?
I can't say that for sure.
All right, I'm gonna go ahead and get Captain Dozier back to work. Thank you, sir. All right, again, we appreciate everybody coming out today. Keep in mind, you know, we moved the weekly press event from this morning till tomorrow. So hope to see everybody here tomorrow, 10:30. All right, thanks a lot. Good day.
Thank you.